Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Horse Racing Today, Memorial Day version. We have Tom sitting in, 22 to 1 Tom. He's down from 100 to 1 Tom. Things are getting tough around Tom's neighborhood.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, stuff happens.
Yeah, well, we'll all take a 22 to 1 for sure. Terry's still not feeling well. So, Terry, we hope that you get better and get better soon. If not, we'll have Tom for a couple days maybe. And today we're going to tackle, normally we tackle Belmont, Parks on Monday, but today we're going to tackle Belmont Park because they have a lot of stakes races. Should be a lot of fun today at Belmont. And I was wondering when I was going through our picks, good morning, Jared. How you doing, my man? I was wondering when we were going through our picks today, if we were looking at the same races or not, because we had a little bit of disagreement across the board. So it should be a fun day of picks. And between you and I, considering the difference in our picks, there's likely to be some winners in there.
We hope. That's what we're trying for.
Well, when there's 8 horses,
I think difference is actually a good thing, not a bad thing.
Man, well, I was going to say when there's 8,
it's all about opinion here. So,
I was going to say when there's 8 horses in the race, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have 5, 6, 7, 8, there's definitely going to be a winner in there somewhere. So, you ready to get started?
Anytime.
All right, so let's pull up our picks. Go to race number 1, which is a mile on the main track. It's a maiden for $75,000. Fillies and mares, 3 years old and up, which were foaled in New York State. Let's quickly take a look. Let me pull my notes down here. They're not for up there. They're for down here. The profile of a winner so far at Belmont, 1 mile on the dirt track, 20 races, 17 won by speed, so clearly a speed bias. The rail does have a outperform, so do 2 and 3. 4 through 7 win less than they should, and 8 plus has a big bonus, but that's not an issue today. So this might be the one race where we have some agreement on.
Yeah, well, and also should point out 35% of the time a favorite wins this race, types of race. So that's something to consider.
And there's a ginormous favorite in here too. So
yeah, well, I went a little guessed it. Which is nothing unusual. I took the 1. I tossed the turf race out, and I like the dirt running of the 5th because she's tossed her head at the gate and had some problems. They're putting blinkers on her today, and I think that'll help. And this isn't a great bunch, so.
So what do you like behind it?
Well, I took the 5. Is my next choice, 6 and 4. So the 5 should be the prohibitive favorite, and it's been beaten plenty of times, 5 times, in a couple seconds, and 4 seconds. So yeah, it's good at running second.
Which is where you have it in here. I have it first, and I'm going to try to beat him. I just think when you look at the horse ran 5 times, 4 times second, top last race, speed figure, but you still got to try to beat him. I agree with you. I'm going to try to beat him if I bet this race. It's probably a pass race for me, to be honest. But Sweet Navy does ride the high win rate rail, did perform better across the board in his second career start. Should be a little bit better following the layoff. Rosie Byrne. First-time starter in here that does not have a lot to beat, Tom. But I do hope he likes to come from off the pace because I think Trevor prefers horses. Trevor McCarthy, friend of the show, because he seems to prefer those types of horses. And then finally, the 3-horse. This scratch really shut this field down a little bit, brought it to 5-horse field. But I do kind of like Sister Linda in here, trying a route for the first time for trainer Horacio De Paz. He's won 8 of 24 that way, so that's 33%. Quick math. First time Lasix and gets a weight break, and sometimes all that can be a positive combination. Race number 2 is 1 mile on the turf, and there's very few scratches today, so the turf races should be good. It's sunny. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s in Belmont, New York. Makes me wonder why we didn't name the track Elmont Park instead of Belmont Park. Maybe you have some history on that, Tom?
Nah, don't know.
Nah, nor do I.
I think, well, it was named after, no, that's not, it was named after the guy, Belmont was the guy's name. I can't think of his first name. So I think that's where it originated.
Yeah, one of those rich aristocrats back in the day when they started racing in New York.
Yeah.
And that was that pre or before or after when they prohibited gambling on horse racing in
they were racing before.
All right.
at Belmont. But they remember there were a number of tracks. There was one in Coney Island that shut down, and there was a couple of them.
Yeah, a lot of them got shut down because they prohibited gambling. I forget when that was, and then some of the other states started opening up around them with tracks, and then the legislature there banned that. But anyway, enough of the New York history on horse racing. A little bit of history on 1 mile turf races. They've had 9 of them so far, and 6 of them were won by speed, 3 of which, so 33%, went wire to wire. Everything except 4 through 7 has underperformed. So we agree on, well, I have the 3, the 1, and the 5. Just a little, you don't have my 6 in there, so.
No, I didn't see the 6. I didn't like the last race. I thought it was really bad at Gulfstream, and it may need a race up here. And it hadn't run in a while. So it had 2 races this year. They shipped it down to Belmont. It just didn't. I don't know what they're doing with the horse. That's really the best way to describe it. And the one that's won 2 in a row, and she's never been out of the money. Kind of hard to pass on her.
And that you're talking about the 3 horse.
Yeah, the 3 horse.
And the 3 horse. The name of the 3 horse is, just in case you're looking at your program, is She's the One. So She's the One is actually the 3.
Yeah, we're on the Widener course for this race.
And I like the 6 horse. It has not finished out of the money in 6 races at Belmont Park, so maybe that's why they're taking it from South Florida. Has been off since December, but just is a nose away from winning its last 2 races, coming off a break at the New York track. She's the One, Tom's first pick, my second choice. Ain't much from being undefeated in 5, just a pair of heads in both. Last race was a little bit on the slow side, so probably why I put it second. But it also means it didn't have to work hard. It should have plenty of juice in round 2 off the bench. Number 1, Runaway Rumor, drops from a grade 2 race here, Tom, and likes Belmont Park. Ran there 6 times, won half of them with a second and a third mixed in. But trainer Jorge Abreu is struggling a bit, has not gotten his first win yet. And then finally, number 5, Pop the Bubbly, which is something we hope to be doing with our picks today. Tom, just going to toss in a price here. I think if this one can get off to a good start, it'd be a good fit for jockey Kendrick Caramouche, and is coming off of the win. And then it's the first time claim for Horatio De Paz, which is a 28% winner for Horatio. So Horatio dominating the early card here for me at Belmont.
Hey, if he's got some horses, may as well run with them. And he's certainly winning.
Good morning, Charles. How are you today, my friend? Good to see you again. Race number 3 at Belmont Park, 1 mile on the regular track. It's an $80,000 allowance race. Too many conditions for me to read about. And we already talked about the profile of a winner there, Tom. So this one is my long shot. I'm going to start off with the 2 horse here. It's a 5-1. I have one a little bit later on down the line. That's an 8-1 morning line up against the big favorite. But I don't have a big favorite here. So I'm going to go with Major Spin as the long shot. Got the maiden win in race number 2, going wire to wire, tying for the top last race speed figure. If you look at those early pace numbers, they were slightly better, but a little bit better fractions at 1 mile and slop compared to 6 furlongs on a fast track. But what really caught my eye was the fact that there was a major pop in that late pace numbers. I don't even have the 8 Pineapple Man, Tom. Why is it your top pick?
The last 2 races have been really good. Came into a maiden race and won that on the dirt without too much trouble, and then came back and won again and was second. He's got the speed. I didn't see a ton of speed in this race. The one that got scratched was speed, and that's why I favored the Pineapple Man, and I actually liked him a lot.
And I had him as my next pick on the board. All right, Jared, this comment does not look good at all. Grandma did me dirty. Come on, man. This is a rated PG-13 show, my friend.
Maybe she bet Rich Strike.
Maybe she did. She's the smart one in the group. Well, unlike us. My name is Rich, and I didn't bet the damn thing, but I'll never live that down. Behind the 2 horse in race number 3, I like the 1 horse Aggregation. It's also coming off the second, the maiden win in the second race. Did much better in the early part of the race last time out with better pace numbers. And interestingly here, you think of Chad Brown, you think of Irad, you think of Flavien Prat, you think about all the top jockeys, right? Well, when he teams up with Manny Franco, who, is a very good jockey, but I don't know that many people would put him in the same, maybe 1A, not they one with Irad and the Flavian types, but he's hitting at 43% with Chad Brown, which I think would be a better number than Irad or Flavien Prat. And amazingly, despite hitting at 44%, that duo still ekes out a small return on investment. And that's 43% winners, not just in the money. So that's a big number.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's enormous. Number 4, Thrill of It, is the other that tied for the top last race speed figure. Took 5 cracks, though, to get that maiden win, but it was also the first time at a route. So it's had 12 furlongs of workout since then. So I expect you'll see the Thrill of It to still be sharp. And then finally, Full Moon Fever. Isn't that a song from Tom Petty or a record, right? Tom, is that right? Full Moon Fever?
I'm not familiar with.
All right. Anyway, sorry to put you on
that
pop culture spot, my man. But anyway, that's not even pop culture anymore. That's like old man culture. But this one is probably the most consistent in the field, the Full Moon Fever. But it has a high floor but low ceiling. So I don't know that you'll see more than that by that.
Yeah, and it moves late. So if the speed holds up, this one somewhere, but not a win.
So Charles says here in race number 3, the 5 horse in race 3 is his long shot for the day. And that horse's name is Majestic Tiger. Finished second last time out with Jose Ortiz in the irons by 4 3/4. Today transfers over to Jose Lescano, who did ride this horse to a win back at Aqueduct in December. So Jose Lescano looking to repeat that performance for Charles today. Race number 4, as we muscle our way through this card so we can enjoy the nice weather and our day off. Not a day off for Jared, though. My man's going to be betting every track today. It's going to be his mind's going to be from race to race
all over the place.
Yes, indeed. So race 4 is 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Maiden, $75,000 race. But these inner turf races, we talked to Jose Ortiz, and he said in the beginning, when they have that kind of shoot, the most important thing is to get position in that shoot, not so much how fast you are or if you're a closer or if you're a speed horse, but to get position in that shoot. So far at 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf course, they've put up 11 races, 7 of which were won from off the pace. So it looks like you won a closer in here. Only 2 went wire to wire. There has been a strong rail bias, a little bit of a performance bonus at 2 or 3. 4 through 7 underperform, and 8 and up do a little bit better than the 2 and 3. So you prefer the rail or 8 and out. Tom, the 4 horse. Well, this is race number 4. Why do you like the 1 horse?
I took the 1 off the last 2 performances. It really seems to be fit this very nicely, and it showed speed last time out. It just seems to be improving from one start to the next start. And then putting Lily Sayas up on the horse, I don't think that'll hurt.
No. Any thoughts about the horses behind the 1?
Well, it was kind of a mixed bag, but I do have a long shot in here. And Looking Grand is my long shot of the day. I thought this was an interesting horse in terms of it ran okay race. I mean, not a great race, but an okay race. And now they're switching to John Vasquez as the jockey. And that's not somebody Charlton Baker normally uses. So maybe get John at a big price.
So you're talking about the 9 horse there.
Yeah, 9,
Looking Grand, which is your 4th pick in race number 4.
Yeah.
For me, in race 4, I'm going to start off with the first of 4 4s in a row. So I hope that numerology from race 4 on down works out for me. But Nico Stratos. Oof. Anyway, been close in both of his races at 1 mile. And this time around, he's going to get some Lasix, which I think could be the difference in here. Number 7, Mr. Connecticut.
Well, he also gets blinkers for the first time.
Yeah, but I think it was a low angle for that trainer, right?
It is a low angle for Jonathan Thomas.
And then Mr. Connecticut, a little bit easier to pronounce for me than the Greek Nikro Stratos. But anyway, Does have some of the best late pace numbers in the field. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier on, I like when horses come off the pace a little bit better for Trevor McCarthy, who's the jockey here. So I feel like Mr. Connecticut's a good fit for Trevor.
He is also adding blinkers that was not in the program.
So that was one of those late
changes, yeah.
Yeah, that you find over at Equibase.
No, I got this off the Belmont, the Naira Belmont page. I usually use them for all the scratches because they list a reason, whether it's a vet scratch or what is, what's the deal. So for future reference, sometimes it's helpful.
Use the Naira. I call it NYRA, and all the people from New York scream at me. It's Naira. Anyway, Bernardino, this one's going to get jockey Joel Rosario today. The horse has been off since late November. Joel's off to a little bit of a slow start in New York, so he's going to have to pick it up a little bit, but Bernardino might get the job done. Should be fit, firm, and ready to go. Man, this horse has put in 34 furlongs of workout since March 23rd. So if this horse is not in shape, he ain't ever going to be in shape. And number 1, Biondi. This horse should be on the gas from go, although, as we mentioned, the bias doesn't fit speed horses, but it's going to get an upgrade to Luis Saez, as you mentioned in your long shot. And this one's making its second start with Lasix. We've talked to a couple jockeys who have said to us that they feel like the second time Lasix is a little bit better than first time Lasix. So we shall see if that works out. Good morning, Mike Watkins. How's everything in Texas today, my friend? Yes, the 7 wins for Merson, first off at Monmouth. So you have that one, Jared? 3-1, nice. So you're supposed to tell us before the race starts, not after. That's the way the program works, my friend.
Oh, well, we'll take what we can get, right?
Mm-hmm. So race number 5 moves to 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. So that one's off the inner turf, over to the Widener turf. This is your long shot of the day to go, your long shot on top with the 4-horse, Tom. You're joining me with the 4-horse, a string of 4s here. That's not my long shot, but why is the 4 your long shot?
It's a good question.
Yeah, because
it really shouldn't be a long shot.
No, not.
I think you got to reverse, because my long shot pick was in the race before.
Number 9. All right, there we go.
Yeah, 9 in there. He's 15-1 plus. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking on that one. This one, you'll be lucky if you get 2-1. Well,
considering nice run to have one typo is not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice run in the maiden run and last out. It beat Out of Sight, who's in this race. Out of Sight went out and to win the next race out. It's Michael Dickinson, and he generally gets the job done with his horses. And repeat, I can easily see here.
And what do you think about the 6, the 9, and the 8 behind him? This is interesting because this is one of the few races where we have absolute agreement on the 4 horses. So I'm wondering if we're both having some synergy at that moment, some telepathy, or if it's just some weird coincidence.
Some weird coincidence. No, I mean the 6, the Cannon Fire. I thought it needed a race. It ran well in its maiden start at Aqueduct, and then came back. It ran okay. I mean, it wasn't a great race, but it wasn't an awful race either. I thought it was a little farther behind than it should have been in that race, and I think that may just need that little. Sometimes horses need a start at the level before they win.
And, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say that it's just one of those that you pick up on. Sometimes they just need a race. Mm-hmm. I took the 9 New Jinja, I guess. Really impressive race last time out, but again, it's one of those. I'm not sure. Was it paper? Was it paper and visually impressive coming from way back, or is it one of those that's going to need a race before it pops again?
Mm. So Jared says he's going to give us a pick in advance now. 22-1 today. So in honor of Tom, he's going to go with Indiana Downs. See, again, you're giving us after the fact. Come on, Jared, I'm misreading that. Before the race starts, my friend. He says, okay, so the next race 2 at Monmouth Park. He's going to go with the 5 in the 7. So let's see what happens there. And Charles says race 7 today is the long shot of the play for him in race number 7 with the 6-horse, won 2 back at Parks in an underrated stakes where Dylan Davis came in to ride. Nice odds here. So we'll get to that horse when we get to race number 7. And I don't have him in my box it up. And it always frightens me when Charles has a horse that I don't have in my box it up. For me, in race number 5, I'm going to start with the 4-horse, who is absolutely not going to be a long shot. Did win her debut with a steady advance. Ran between horses in the comments. And I think that's a pretty encouraging sign for horses making their first start, because a lot of times when you see horses making their first start, they don't like to go between horses. And when they do, they kind of pull out of there. So that's a sign to me that Rayon, if that's how you pronounce that, does have some heart and get some Lasix here today as well. New Guinea won the debut, another one that made a pretty good advance. Started 9th of 12th, managed to find its way to the winner's circle, also getting first-time Lasix for trainer Christophe Clement, who, this guy, to me, is one of those guys that when he's got a horse on the turf, you have to pay attention. So far, 29% winner at Belmont. Out of sight, the 8-horse, never been off the board in 4 starts at Belmont Park with a win, 2 seconds, and a third. Jockey Jose Ortiz on the horse for the 3rd time in the row. Last race with Jose, won big with major improvement across the board, maybe a little bit better than the 3rd off the break. And then finally, Cannon Fire regressed a little bit in its last race, but that was its 2nd start. But many times you see horses come out of the barn. First race, they perform well. Second race, they take a step back. Third race, they rebound and do better than they did in the first race. That's kind of what we're looking for today. So let's see. Parks race. What race is this? Race 11, the 10-horse in race 11. All right, at Parks. Race 5, Santa Anita, the 5-horse wins today. And then 1-2, I don't know what that is. Well, with the 1-2 at Santa Anita, race 5. So 5-1-2, remember that, at Santa Anita. So that brings us to the hot dog pick 4. And Tom took the hot dog quite literally. I think Tom's pick 4 probably costs less than a hot dog in most places nowadays. Certainly probably less than a hot dog at Belmont Park. You decided to single up the top and the bottom. Take us through the thinking on that.
Well, in the second race, I really thought this field was one of those fields where you could single. And she's the one who's got the record. She's been very consistent. I think she's going to get 3 in a row. I went with in the next one, I went with 8 as my on top, Pineapple Man, which I know you don't like. And we are completely disagree with this race.
Yes, no chance for us to both.
I took 3 and 4 are my next 2 choices. So, the 3 and 4, I think have a chance, especially the 4 comes out of a win from last time. Yeah, it's on a maiden race, but it's been improving all along because each of its steps ups have been an improvement race and getting closer and running much more effectively. Where Full Moon Fever, I threw it in because of its late ability, and maybe it'll get a chance to get up in there. And then we had some fun in the 4th race because this was our maiden special crazy race, of course. I did go with the 1 Vladi as my top choice. I mean, it just, to me, I think it's primed to win. It looks like it's doing everything right. And again, getting Louis Saez up on the rail, on the turf course, can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
I had to throw the 6 in there, the front line dancer. I just, it had an awful race. It was a first start, and that's the best way to describe it. I think it's a Pletcher, Dylan Davis, kind of hard to throw those out,
I'm kind of curious with your 9 being a long shot of the play and you only spending $4.50. How you didn't add them in there?
I decided to just go with my initial picks. And as I said, the 9 was one of those, okay, I'm looking at it. I think it has a chance, but.
You just wanted to show Terry and I up by winning only $4.50 when Terry and I go out there and fight for $18 to $20 every day.
Well, that's the fun of trying them. And I am a big believer in singling. Mm-hmm. So I try to, it's not for the economics. It's more because I'd rather sit on specific horses in specific races And that's, and really in the fifth race, I had a really hard time getting past that Michael Dickinson horse. It was a good race first out. And it beat a horse that won second time out, and the horse is back in this field. So that really sort of keyed me into saying, yeah, I could beat the rest of this bunch.
So I just did the big buns on the outside. I did the old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef in the middle? All bun on the outside, 3x3 on the outside, and then 2 and 2 in the middle. All right, Thomas, before we move on, this week there will not be because of Memorial Day, everybody's going to be doing their family stuff, right? And hopefully remembering the folks who gave up their lives serving their country. But we will return to Horse Center tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a pretty good roster of folks for guests this week. Sean's always out there busting his hump to get us good guests. Tomorrow we have jockey Kelsey Har, and then Wednesday, jockey Jose Ferrer. And then on our Players Edge podcast this Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have on jockey Tyler Gaffleone. I hope that he doesn't watch the show. Not that I give him a hard time, but I always have. He's become that jockey for me, where if I bet him, he don't do so good, and if I don't bet him, he wins. So I have one of those relationships with jockey Tyler.
Well, this spring at Keeneland, he tore it up. So you had a few. You must have had the wrong horses. That's all I can say.
I was thinking. It's just, it's one of those things that everybody has that jockey, right? For me in the old days when I used to go out to Arlington, when the track was still open, it was Pat Day, right? I mean, one of the greatest jockeys of all time history, and wins thousands and thousands and thousands of races. And he must have smelled garlic or sulfur when I walked into the track, because if I bet on him, he didn't win. It's pretty funny.
Mine was early Friars. He used to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
He'd be on something you thought for sure he's going to win with. And then then he's on a horse that you look at the form and you go, yeah, there's no way. And he goes out and smokes the field.
Yeah, we all have that guy or that girl now, right? So whichever it is for you, I think the best thing you can do is just put it in every race. That way you can't go wrong. All right. So race number 6 starts a string of stakes races. This one is the Critical Eye Handicap. 1 mile on the main track for $200,000. And Tom says this is a big race, so I'm going to make a big bet, and I'm going to make the 4-horse my best bet.
And I did. Banksting. I tossed the Ruffian race. I tossed out. She's not quite at that level yet. She may in the future, but boy, she's got a record against state breds of 7 wins. And in 9 starts, that's pretty good. And she's beaten some of these horses before. I mean, she always stubbed her toe really badly in one race, and that was also the race where they changed the jockey, which I found very curious. So I'm looking for her with Joel Rosario getting the first time ride on this one, to be right there.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting to me with this horse, Tom, is that on a fast track, as many times as the horse ran, it's only got a fast track 3 times and won all 3 of them. So the track's going to be fast today. So Banksting's going to look to keep that unblemished record unblemished. And this one, the resume too, also says the horse should improve nicely in the second start off a layoff. So a lot of good reasons to like Banksting. Secret Love does get the 26% winning rail. So the rail is definitely got a strong bias there. Been strong at Belmont Park as well without the bias, winning 2 out of 3 with a second in there. And this one showed a little bit better early pace figures last time and late pace figures. Some people call that a Z pattern. Number 7, Make Mischief, steps down from a grade 2 last time out. Although the last
race is Banksting.
Mm-hmm. But the last race did show better first half numbers than it did in the previous race. If you just go back 2 races, it won by 10 lengths. So which one are we going to get? And then finally, number 2, Maiden Beauty, loves the distance with 7 wins in 17 races. Put it at any other distance 22 other times, and it just has 2 wins. So that looks to me like that 1 mile is this horse is a 1 miler for sure. This one usually runs very well following a layoff. race number 7, Tom, as we move along on the Belmont card, is yet another stakes race. This one is the Bowery Stakes. Probably got that wrong. First of 2 races in a row that are 7 furlongs on the main track. And at 7 furlongs, they've tried that 15 times so far at the current Belmont meet, 13 of which were won by speed, so clearly a speed bias. 7 of the 15 led from gate to wire, so you better be damn fast on this one. There is a rail bias. 2 and 3 underperform what they should. 4 through 7 has a slight bonus, but not much. And the 8 and out have not found the winner's circle as of yet. Race 7, Tom, is my box it up. That's where we take 4 horses, throw them together for a $1 exacta box, a 10-cent superfecta box, and a 50-cent trifecta box. Why I put them in that order, I don't know. This one's going to have a pretty heavy favorite, and this is why I went with this as my box it up. Yokuz, the 2-horse, I think is a morning line, even money. But I'm going to go with Adversity as my top choice here. I got to string all these 4s together. Did run the top last race, speed figure last time out. And to me, the start means everything for this horse. If he is on or near the lead at the half-mile marker, especially if he has the lead in the stretch, it's going to be really hard to pass. Yokuz, going to be the big favorite. Did stumble at the start of its last race, which ended a 3-race win streak. And none of those 3 wins were really close at all. And then the 2 times the horse ran at a mile, won both of them. Captain's Daughter goes back to dirt, where she's in the money 6 out of 6. She is a closer. He is a closer that goes against the bias here, the speed bias. But I think there's plenty of pace for this one to chase. And then finally, Sterling Silver goes back to Trevor McCarthy, who rode the horse in its first 3 races, won the first 2, kind of bombed against different combination, but has 17 furlongs of good workouts since that last bombing effort. The one thing I like about this race, though, is with that 1-horse, with the 2-horse Yokuz as a very heavy morning line favorite. If the horse happens to get beat, finish 2nd or 3rd, and some prices come in front of it, it could make for some really bloated exactas and trifectas, maybe even a nice superfecta if we get lucky and it runs 4th. What do you like in race number 7?
I took number 3, Sterling Silver. Is my top choice. She ran the last 2 races in open company. She ran in the Ashland. Nest ran away from the field, essentially, but did absolutely nothing in the Oaks. But her first 2 races were against state breds, and she basically came from mid-pack and blew them away, and looked very good doing it. I think that's why they got a little aggressive with her. But now they got a nice purse here. Why not run for it?
Run for it, baby. I also want to point out that race number 7, just in case I don't forget, and which is kind of hard because I usually forget everything. Too many smacks to the floor. But Tom says that this is his, not Tom, Charles likes the 6-horse in this race here. And the 6-horse for Charles is Kisses for Emily. He's mentioning that last race, 2 races back at Parks, had a really nice win in a $100,000 non-graded stakes race, very similar to the type of field that it might be facing here. So keep an eye on the 6-horse in race number 7, likely to blow up my box it up because that's what he likes to do for me.
Yeah, well, very possible, but I didn't like it either. So
well, I don't know what
I tossed it too. So we're in agreement. Very rare today, but we're in agreement on that one.
Yes. Well, we had a couple races where we're pretty similar on. Race number 8 doesn't look like it's one of them. I have the 2, the 5, the 9, and the 4. Well, the only horse we agree on here is what, the 5-horse? Your top pick,
way, yeah.
My second pick. But the 2-horse in here in this second of 7 furlong races, the Mike Lee Stakes, $125,000 non-graded variety, state breds, it looks like to me.
Yeah, all state. This is New York. Big Apple Day. It's New York. What happened was one of the races didn't fill. One of the $200,000 races didn't fill. So that's why they got an extra maiden race in here.
Yeah.
Because the Commonwealth didn't fill.
I noticed that because when I was doing my picks today yesterday for handicapping over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet, I have to write the commentary for the stakes races, and there was one stakes race short compared to what Blood Horse was showing for stakes races. So I was wondering what would happen on there. But number 2, best idea is my best bet of the day. So this is pretty interesting to me. I go 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 2. So some symmetry there. But anyway, best idea is my best idea of the day because the horse missed by a head in its last with better fractions at 4 furlongs and 6 furlongs. But those better fractions came at 1 1/16 versus 7 furlongs in its previous start. Tom, you don't even have the 2 horse. So what am I doing wrong?
I think it was a bad idea, but that's my own. It ran okay, but it's kind of a step up, and it stubbed its toe last time against some of these horses before. So that's why I tossed it. I didn't see it. I was with Rotney is my top choice 5. Also stubbed its toe last time out, but before that it won 3 in a row. So I'm thinking it's going to bounce back. And it has performed well in stakes races and at this level, and it has beaten some of the horses that are in here. So that's why I put it as my top choice.
Any thoughts about the horses behind it? The one horse we do agree on. So
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, of course, my 2 got scratched. My next 2 were scratched, so I had to scramble to pick some other horses. And one of them was was number 7, Cosme Mike, primarily because of the name of the race. I don't know. It's run well.
It won a championship for Charles Harrington. You said you bet on horse names.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one that trains over in Penn and comes in here. Trevor McCarthy's going to ride, and I think it's got a chance in here. It's run well when it's pretty consistent horse, and why not? I mean, it makes as much sense as any of these other horses do. And again, my thoughts were, as I said, I scrambled for my other 2 picks because they scratched my 2 that I wanted.
Well, we both have the 5 and the 4 in here. I agree. The 4 for me, Tin Pan Alley, was an addition at the end because of scratch, knocked out a horse that I thought would perform pretty well here. But I like the 5 horse too. This one does worry me a little bit to beat my best bet. Maybe it's an ice cold exact, the 2-5. Rotney, last time out ran at Turfway Park. It was the first time on all-weather track. Sometimes horses just don't like that surface. Maybe because they can't hear the other horses. I don't know. Jockeys keep telling us how quiet it is on the all-weather track. But this one goes back to dirt. And when you look at those workouts since that Turfway Park, I think it's 4 bullets in a row. So either they're really hustling that horse or that horse is going to be really sharp.
Well, and when it's one at this distance too, so this may be the sweet spot for it. Who knows? Certainly you find horses that become a specialist especially at this distance, which I think is one of the most difficult distances to run.
Yeah, that weirdo 7 furlongs.
Yeah.
What concerns me though is when you have 4 bullet workouts in a row. I just wonder, much like my golf game. On the range, man, I look like I should be on the tour a lot of times. Man, I get a lot of nice drives, a lot of nice irons. I've dialed in when I'm hitting at the flags. Get me on the course, and the ball goes all over the place. So I wonder sometimes when those horses put all those bullets together, if maybe they left a little bit on the practice field.
I went back historically, looked at the works, and this horse always works fast. So that is not if it had been something out of ordinary, yes, I would agree with you. But it doesn't appear to be out of the ordinary. It appears the way they work this horse, and must be the way it tunes itself up. And well, let's face it, with 3 wins, that's not so bad.
No. Well, that's me.
That all weather. That's why I tossed it.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. I mean, it's pretty clear. I just said, what is this? That's me. The 9 horse, my 3rd choice, right in front of the 4 horse that got in at the end. That one was much better. That's me in its across the board. Its 3-year-old debut as the favorite. Missed. Trainer Jorge Abreu does win at 24% the next time out at other tracks. Still looking for that first Belmont win, though. This one says the resume suggests that the horse should be about the same in its second start off a layoff as it was the first time. Race number 9. I like this race. I like this horse that I have on the top of my picks. I don't know why, but this one's a mile and a 16th on the inner turf. It's 125,000. The Kingston Stakes. Is it the first time today that we have the same horse as our? No, we have the 3 horses
we had
today.
We had some 4s.
Mm-hmm.
When you in your 4 in a row, I had the 2 middle ones
as your top pick.
That's
my Moses Malone picks. I don't know if you remember when the Sixers won the championship and he was like 4-4-4-4-4. That's my Moses Malone. Race 10, old-time New York racing angle. When Johnny V sticks around to ride on a maiden in the last race with a FTS training hitting at 21%, nice odds here, as we must use in pick 6 horse number 8, Cash It. So interesting. So Johnny V wants to beat the traffic and rush out of there. So race number 9, Tom, we both like the 7 horse. Some like it Hot Brown. Why do you like Some Like It Hot Brown?
It's won it great at stakes races. So it's been racing at a much higher level than most of these horses have.
Mm-hmm.
It does like the lead. Jose knows how to ride this horse and has won on it in the past. It's trying to, it's run for some good money, as a few of the other ones have too. But I just don't, in the last races, it's been lights out. And even with running second or third, I mean, that's running against good company. And I just think it's got a class edge over this field.
Yeah, I think it has a class edge too. And I was also really a big fan of the distance. Ran it 8 times, 4 wins, 4 seconds, including a win at Belmont Park at a mile and a 16th on the inner turf course. So certainly the distance fits no matter if it's an inner or outer turf. Number 3, Therapist, something I'll need after this show. This one's been, to paraphrase Terry and Bob Dylan, been knocking on the distance door, baby. 9 times out, clearly one that likes to hang. So if Therapist has the lead late, it's going to back up and let somebody pass it, because 9 times at a mile and a 16th, 3 seconds and 5/3, no wins, but has put together 4 consecutive speed figure increases and will look to improve on that trend in the 3rd start off the bench. Number 5, Cross Border. This one was an interesting one to me because this one's numbers match up with Some Like It Hot Brown. When you look at those speed figures, just doesn't know where the winner's circle is. Always seems to kind of fall short at the end. But if he puts in his best effort here, Cross Border could make it look easy against all the others in this field, except maybe Some Like It Hot Brown. And then finally closing out race number 9 with number 8, Step Dancer. Trainer Barkley Tag doesn't really enter very many at this level, but when he does, 27% hit rate, which is about twice his overall hit rate. So it looks to me like he's very good at placing his horses at this level. And then finally, race number 10, as I mentioned, Charles says you got to pay attention to that Johnny V sticking around angle one last time. He says you got to look at the 6 horse. Oh, what horse is this? The Johnny V horse. Johnny V sticks around for a ride in late race for the FTC trainer, hitting at 21%. Nice odds here as well. Must use in pick 6. Horse number 8, you can cash it. All right. Again, you and I don't have the 8 horse, but Johnny V apparently is sticking around, Tom. But we do like the 12 and the 13, interestingly. But I also got the 11 in here. Take us through your box it up.
Well, on the 8, I like the pedigree, but it's first start, and as Jorge has not won a race yet, so it was kind of hard for me to put that in there.
Yep. Stay away from those O for trainers till the BART starts to heat up.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more. My top choice got scratched, so I had to do a little quick scrambling and pick number 12, Crosstalk, as my top choice. First effort showed speed and then backed up. Its second effort on the turf, it showed some ability, but frankly was no match for the winner. And I think this distance is better based on how it's bred. Temple cities tend to like longer, and I think it'll be right there at the end to win.
And then you like the 13, the 1, and the 2 behind it. The 2 horse is a nice price. Why do you like that 2 horse?
Well, the 13 finally showed life in its last race, and I really always like to see that. I always, unlike Rich Strike, who came off the AE, he's coming off the AE list, and I always take notice of those horses when they're coming off the list, when they're coming into the race, because there's a reason they want them in here.
Except when they go off at 81 to 1.
Yeah, except that I ignored my mantra and didn't do it. So then I took number 1 Oak Love as a fight. Next choice really hasn't done much, but I love that part because Orlando Norda and Manny Franco, they've done okay, and just finally, if this horse would get a clean trip, I think it's going to be in the money. Because it's been bumped, it's had some messy races, and that's really the key to me, is that if it gets a clean trip, it's in the money. And then I took the 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
2, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Moan Don Don. It ran a good race last time, and it was a little wide. And it looked like it was meandering a little, but it looks like one of these horses that's going to start to really improve. And it's not run awful. The 2 races aren't awful, but I think his last race or her, I should say, it moved up. And I also like the mare's name, Freaky Chick.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully, this is not watching. So I messed up the 1 and the 2 horse. The 1 horse's name is not She's a Natural. The 1 horse is, and that's why I probably goofed it up. Oak Loves a Fight, and then number 2 is Mo Nizine Dawn. So I apologize about the names, but the numbers are right. Tom likes the 12, the 13, the 1, and the 2. And usually when I screw up the box it up, it's a winner. So that 50 to 1, I hope it actually wins for you, Tom. Even though I don't have it in my picks, I'm going to go with the 11 horse as my top choice in here, and that's Queen of Lies. That one finished second in its last race, not last, and had all kinds of in-race issues. Today, the outside post should help her avoid some of that trouble. If it gets a clean trip, look out for a Queen of Lies. Number 3, Bavarian Cream, 7 furlong fractions in the last were just the same as they were in 6 furlongs the previous race. This one's looking to improve for the 4th consecutive race in a row, and it looks to me like the longer the race goes, the better. But did run well in 7 furlongs last time out, so maybe that one actually needs a little more distance.
I think that's why I passed on it. I think it needs more. I don't think this is a long enough race for the horse. I think it's going to be a mile plus is when this horse will hit.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, but I did like the horse in here. I figure maybe it doesn't win, so I just put it in the winner's circle. But certainly when my Bavarian history, where my family comes from, Bavaria, Germany, Regensburg, interesting town where the Danube River is, big, important town in World War II, where they bombed it every single day because of the supply chain. But in any case, and also a place that Napoleon tried to firebomb. So interesting city in that respect. Also where Schindler, from Schindler's List, found his retirement. So a lot of history in that small little town in Regensburg, Germany. Anyway, number 12, my next pick is Crosstalk. This one gets a jockey upgrade. Your top pick to Jose Ortiz was the favorite last time out. Didn't come through, but trainer David Dugan does rebound at 27% the next time around the track with the failed favorite, and does have a good ROI on that angle of $1.89. And then finally, Dream Central. I took your opinion here, Tom, when the AE clicks in there. So scratched in, did improve his pace numbers from start to finish in her last race, and maybe better in round 2 off the bench. And that wraps up the picks, but not our prime rib pick 4, where we spend a little bit more money. Tom went $96. I'm not quite sure if that math is right, but
I think it's close. I'd have to run. I'd have to run it again. I think
it's more like 90.
Yeah, I think it's a little cheaper.
So you got 16 times what, 5?
Yeah.
So that's going to be $80 actually. So $80 for Thomas, and you're singling up that 5 in race number 8. So you're living true to your you need a single mentality.
I am.
And then for me, I went with the 4 and 2 in race 7. I almost singled up the 4 horse, your best bet. I mean, in my box setup, I was pretty close to doing that. And then I went 5 by 3 by 5. My ticket is, I think, $75. So,
well, see, I'm not the only one.
no, I'm pretty sure it's $75. I'm absolutely 100% confident. So, let's run through our full card picks once again, as the first race is about to kick off in about 7 minutes. Here are our full picks. Tom's long shot is number 9 in race number 4. I had originally screwed that up. Mine is number 2 in race number 3. Tom's best bet is in race number 6, the 4 horse. My best bet is in race number 8, the 2 horse, though I do worry about the 5. Tom's box it up, as we just mentioned, is in the final race. The 1 and the 2 are the right horses, just the wrong names. Mine is in race number 7. All the names and numbers are correct. If I'm going to screw anything up, might as well be Tom's. Our hot dog pick 4s.
I can do it just as easily as you can.
Yes, I experienced a little bit of that this morning. Race number 2, Tom's going all out hot dog, $4.50. I've never been to Belmont, but I'm positive you can't buy a hot dog there for $4.50, at least not in 2022. And then our prime rib pick 4s look a little bit like this. So tomorrow, I'm not sure who is going to be the co-host. It might be Terry if he's feeling better. If not, we'll invite Tom back and see if Tom we'll do Parks, I think, tomorrow is which we'll do, which is a fan favorite. Wednesday, we'll do Delaware Park. And then I'm not quite sure what we're going to do on Thursday. And that wraps up the show today, Tom.
Yeah, I was torn on whether Belmont or Santa Anita, because Santa Anita has a mandatory payoff of a pick 6, and they're expecting about $5 million in that pool.
And they
yeah. If you don't want to drive yourself crazy at Belmont with the state bred stakes races, why don't you take a gander at that Santa Anita card?
Yeah, might take a shot at that pick 6.
I've been looking it over and seeing if I can pull a few out of there. I got some interesting picks.
And I think the first Breeders' Cup winning you're in challenge races today at Santa Anita too. So
yeah,
a lot of consequences. Big money with that pick 6, and then the first Breeders' Cup winning you're in. If you're going to bet today at Santa Anita, you can get our full card picks over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Also today, the free track of the day, probably about to get started already, is Finger Lakes. So all you got to do is head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link in the description below on YouTube, in the description, thanks to Sean over at Facebook. So there you go. Race number 1 at Finger Lakes. We like the 3 to 5 shots. So yes, we are going out on a limb, but we have some nice picks the rest of the day.
That's a big limb.
Well, at least we didn't make it a best bet, Tom, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
For sure. So
but then again, Brickyard got beat at 1 to 5. So
anything is possible. It's horse racing, right?
Brickyard Ride got beaten, going for 5 stakes wins at Santa Anita last, and it didn't look too good.
I mean, it's horse racing. Everybody can get a little bit tired. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly mention a big weekend over in the UK this weekend. Epsom races. On Friday we have the Epsom Oaks, and on Saturday we have the Epsom Derby. And I also wanted to make a mention that Lester Piggott died yesterday, and he came out of retirement to ride Royal Academy in the Breeders' Cup race and won that. So he was quite a rider, and he also I think he won the Epsom Derby 7 times.
Oof. And we'll talk a little bit about that later in the week. I know you'll join us probably on Thursday to go over that. And then we'll probably trip up Tyler Gaffleone, ask him to make some picks for that on Thursday night. And then we'll cover that on our 4 and Fridays for Saturday's card. I want to thank Jay Marco, Eric Verbruggen. I can't see. I need glasses. Mike Watkins, Lionel T.M. Hook. And then I unfortunately can't read Arabic, but I do thank you for that. For the thumbs up on Facebook. We appreciate that. If you haven't done so, please do like they have. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook, or like, right? That's the proper terminology there. At Horse Race Today, we're closing in on 6,000 likes there. So help us get there by telling your friends about us. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe on YouTube and hit the thumbs up there as well. The better our ratios are, the higher up we go in their algorithms, which is what the goal is, of course. And of course, we hope everybody has a fantastic Monday. Usually we have the good luck at the winner's circle today, but in honor of, we'll close our show in honor of Memorial Day for the more than 1 million, I think it's 1.1 million folks have died fighting in wars for the United States. So in honor of them, we close the show. Everybody have a fantastic Monday. We will see you tomorrow.